Uh, good morning, madam. Good morning, participant. Good morning, Sachin sir. We are all set for the inaugural session of our FDP. Why we have got less participants? The reason being people are joining because they are having their email address, which is not Gmail. Maximum of them would be the reason. So Mega is admitting them. So we will start our session. So, good morning, everybody. This is Professor Brijesh Sharma, the coordinator of this program, and for all of your requirement, I am there. So, continuously, I am looking at your WhatsApp message and email. So, you'll have to excuse us if there is some lapse. So, we'll start the formal inaugural session. I mean, within few minutes. Meanwhile, I will humbly request all of you to mute yourself. I have shared the flow with all of you in your email. Okay, so the flow goes like this. First, we'll have welcome address by Dr. Bcg Banerjee, then followed by inaugural address by Dr. Satish Mode, then followed by keynote speech by Dr. Sachin Deshmukh. We also have lined up the technical session. The technical session will start from 10 o'clock. So first 2 hours, that is 10 to 12 hours, it will be by Dr. Bcg Banerjee. It will be introduction to strategic management and external analysis, industry structure, competitive forces and strategic group. Very loaded session. Then second session will be from 2 to 4. It is going to be on internal analysis, resources, capability and core competencies. Again, a very loaded session. It will be taken by Dr. Joita Chatterjee. So I would like to call Dr. Bcg Banerjee to give the welcome address. She is the Associate Dean of IQAC and Accreditation at VES B School. She is a resource person in some of the technical sessions also. She is a versatile faculty member and has a very illustrious profile. I would like to request Bcg Banerjee to come and give the welcome address.
Thank you, Professor Brijesh. Thank you, Professor Brijesh. Warm welcome and good morning to everyone at our FDP on strategic management in a VUCA world. It is a wonderful initiative that has been taken by AICTE under this ATAL, where they are going on promoting forum in which knowledge can be shared. This FDP, I do not consider there is going to be any teaching. It's a knowledge sharing platform. We all are faculty, like any of you. And we would like to make this session very enriched with whatever is the information and knowledge there with us. And same thing we will be sharing with you. Since the group is very big, I know it will not be possible that we all interact at a time. But yes, you can raise your hand and then accordingly we can keep on giving chances. So to ignite and initiate, every faculty, every resource person, I would rather say, would be sending some short things, as I had shared with you, one small caselet, so that there is some thought that comes when you join the session. So before I begin, I would like to just ensure, is Dr. Mode there? Then we would be requesting our Director of Vivekananda Education Society's Institute of Management Studies and Research to come up with it. He's a person with extensive experience in terms of strategic management. So is Mode sir there?
No, ma'am, not yet joined. I checked the participants list.
Okay.
Madam, what we can do, we can ask Sachin Deshmukh sir to
Sachin sir, yeah. So let Sachin sir come. And here, as I just introduced, that the sessions are going to be, not just now as Professor Brijesh said that it's going to be a loaded session. We all can understand strategic management being one of the pillar on which the entire management lies, that being clubbed in 5 days. So we would like to bring in as much as possible in each of the session, making it as much interactive as possible from our end, but avoiding any sort of confusion or chaos that might hinder the platform of knowledge sharing. So with this today, let us begin with a wonderful 5 days journey of learning, sharing and enriching us. Okay, so now here I would like to call upon Director of VES Business School, Brijesh sir. This is up to you. I say that you kindly.
Yes, definitely, madam. So Dr. Satish Mode sir will be joining in the 5-10 minutes. So we are just taking the keynote address ahead of the address to be given by Dr. Satish Mode. So I would like to introduce Dr. Sachin Deshmukh. So Sachin sir is the director of our college, and our college is hosting this FDP. We are very much proud of this fact, and we are very much elated that we got a very overwhelming response of 130 participants. Many would be joining in short period of time. So Sachin sir has got 20 years of industry and 15 years of teaching experience at the post-graduation and doctoral level in management. He has published number of national and international research papers on consumer behavior and data analytics. His publication also includes many articles on big data. He and his team have worked on projects like customer acquisition in a bank and understanding the perception of customers of national and international markets using regression model and factor analysis. We are also a part, myself and Tejani madam, we are a part of a project being headed by Dr. Sachin Deshmukh. His recent projects are in the field of human resource analytics, wherein he is working on talent acquisition and talent management. He has a varied interest in Internet of Things and blockchain. He is one of the emerging gurus on big data analytics and its utilization in the industry. Sachin sir has conducted number of FDPs and international conferences on data analytics. He has also delivered number of guest lecture on topics of analytics in seminar and conference. I would like to invite Sachin sir to give the keynote address. Sir, please.
Yeah, thank you, Brijesh sir. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Good morning to all. It's great to see that more than 130 participants pan-India are, taking interest in this program. Over the last 2 months, I happened to have discussions with a few consultants of strategy pan-India, and they have briefed me about how companies made changes in their strategies to survive in the tough times of pandemic. There are some lessons to be learned by each one of us, because this is not the last pandemic on earth. We have to be ready for such situations 24/7. We have experienced how supply chains that were existing before pandemic got disrupted. There was a shift in consumer demand. We have stories of how companies had to realign their strategies to cope up with the changes in the marketplace. The COVID-19 pandemic has prompted different responses from companies, CEOs speaking to ensure their businesses survive. Employee safety was their first priority, but beyond that, their task has involved understanding the situation, launching countermeasures, and trying to evolve ways of working to ensure their businesses can continue. Here I would like to quote one good example of a shipping giant called Maersk. Now this shipping giant Maersk embarked on a historic transformation in 2016 to become an integrated transport and logistic company, combining its shipping line, port operations, and freight forwarding businesses into a single entity. The progress was not up to the expectation of the company. The pandemic brought unprecedented challenges to Maersk customers who faced with falling demand, had to manage their global networks as effectively as possible. They wanted better information across the supply chain and the ability to change outcomes while goods were in transit. These demands affirmed Maersk's strategy to shift from being a port-to-port container transport company to an integrated end-to-end logistic company, making use of digital technologies to provide the connectivity and visibility that customers require. The company's customers turned to its blockchain-enabled supply chain platform called TradeLens, where the number of transactions almost tripled from 70,000 a week in January 2020 to about 194,000 a week in June 2020. Also, transaction across the company's portal increased by 20 to 25% between January and October 2020. The digital capabilities they have developed in the last 5 years came in very handy during COVID-19. Now, this pandemic accelerated the Merck's technological transformation efforts, which led to a new digital products and services while modernizing the customer interface, back-end infrastructure, and assets such as ships and terminals. Merck also built expertise through acquisitions, purchasing warehouses, and the distribution companies' performance team that and customer management from KGH Customs. It's a company well known for the digital marketing part. Now, the CEO of the company, Soren Skau, was able to apply what he learned from the financial crisis, which he faced in 2008-2009, when Merck and its competitor fought for market share and ended up driving down freight rates. This time, Skau focused on profitability, cutting capacity by 20%, but filling the remaining vessels, even as the pandemic caused shipping volumes to drop. The plunging prices of oil also helped the company's financial performance, and its earning actually increased in the first 3 quarters of 2020, despite near paralysis of the global economy. A strategy that helped most not only to survive, but it came out with flying colors. Now, this example, where one would find technologies like blockchain and analytics are being used to build effective strategies. Today, the companies have started using frontier technologies of Industry 4 to collect and analyze the data, and this analysis is taken forward to build effective strategies for company. Now, this example proves that Winston Churchill's adage, "Never let a crisis go waste," was as relevant as ever, with businesses finding positive during the pandemic. Many people ask, how can one develop a strategy into a world that keeps changing so fast? They are afraid that a set of rigid principles will hinder their ability to react quickly. I would say that it is precisely at such times you need a strategy. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much, one and all. Thank you.
Yes. So, Madam Sachin sir, Mode sir is there.
No, sir, not yet.
Okay, sir, can you please call up Mode sir?
I will do that.
Meantime, I have found that some of the participants had said that why the whole strategy thing was not shared with them. Very honestly, before we began, I didn't want to load them with an article which is of 6 to 10 pages, 6 to 8 pages. So I felt this is the first day. Let us, even if you are not able, somebody has written that the person could not, since he is not from this particular field, it is difficult for him to understand the strategy that has been established by Sony, the example that we had given. So yeah, Prema and madam, I think want to say something. Yes, madam.
Can you share the booklet of the complete case working on this? Listen.
I'm not able to hear you clearly, madam. Can you be little...
Ma'am, can we have the booklet of the case which has been just told to us?
Yeah, I will be sharing that. I had written yesterday only. As soon as this class is over, along with my PPT of the class, I'll be sharing the article also.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So what is strategy? How this Japanese company, what is their specifications, why we want to understand this. So just to ignite an idea among the participants, a thought, it was just a food for thought to be given to them, that when we come to the session, there is something in the mind that what are we talking about, and is there anything that others have got to say about what these two different companies did differently, because they are still very prevalent in our market, and there is not a single individual who are not familiar with the company, even if we have not been very keen in understanding their strategy.
Devdani ma'am, I think Mohit sir got stuck in the traffic, so he has requested you to proceed.
Okay.
Madam, one problem, I can't log in using my Yahoo ID.
Fine, sir. Then how are you logging in? Because
I'm
you have
using my
registered
office
with your,
default Gmail.
you have registered with your Yahoo ID.
Correct.
Okay.
Sir,
So
you can log in using your Yahoo ID, and Megha will admit you, sir.
they
Yes,
will
sir.
admit you.
Okay,
They will
but
ask for
can,
a permission.
But how
Sir,
do I
sir,
log
this
in
is what-
via my Yahoo ID? Because it goes into Gmeet and it goes into the default Google profile. It's not technically possible.
Sir, you can from the Yahoo ID take the link
Hmm.
and click on the link and try to get into the session. So
What is
I'll get
showing
a pop-up.
currently? What is showing currently? Because that's what I did. What is showing on my display currently? Because that is what I did.
I'll
So
check with my
we will
IT
sort
team.
out, Mr. Biswas, we will sort out this problem. One solution could be, if you are on our WhatsApp group,
Yeah.
from WhatsApp group, try to click, you will go there, and Megha will get the admit
Yes.
request from your side, and you will get requested. So
No,
many
the
of
problem,
participants will
Dr. Sharma, I am from the IT industry. The problem is that I also have a Google account. Okay, the
Okay.
default Google account. When I
Okay.
click from my Yahoo or from my chat or whatever, it will first check for the Google account and use that itself. That is the problem. If you do Zoom and if you do Teams, then you get a chance to enter your email ID. But in Google, it will take whatever default Google account is there. That's the issue.
Okay, so we can only use Google. I mean, because we have got a policy of using Google Meet,
Right.
and we have purchased that, and we have got I mean, many participants. That's why we have gone with Google Meet.
Okay, then
And
just
we
make
have
an
to do
allowance
the
for
admin.
me at least.
Or you want?
Because in the procedure it was mentioned you should only log in via your ID from which you registered. So I just
Yes.
request you to make an exception for me, please.
That is not a problem as far as, I mean, we'll sort out this issue within, say, half an hour and 1 hour. We'll
You
try to-
don't
Okay.
worry, sir. It will be addressed.
Yeah, we'll do
You
that.
need not
That's
have
good.
to worry.
We will proceed with our sessions, and these things
Right.
we will handle offline also.
Right.
Mr. Shamik, I have a suggestion. Why
Yes,
don't you
yes,
bring your
sir.
registration ID itself to Yahoo? You can change
Yes,
your
Krishna Mohan, we
registration
cannot
to Yahoo.
get you. What are you saying?
Yes, Krishnamohan, sir, you had something to say, and we are not very clear what is your view.
So I mean, suggestion would be for all the participants, if you have got some answers or some solutions, you can share on the WhatsApp, so it could be seen by many people, and then we can accordingly go forward.
So
Yeah,
are-
we will start. I mean, with our technical
I
sessions, madam.
think, sir, let us wait for a few more minutes because people knew the session begins from 10.
10 o'clock.
And
Correct,
it's
correct.
already 10 minutes yet left.
Earlier.
So the formal session we will begin from 10 only. In between, we
Okay.
can have them, since there are very few. If somebody is interested in introducing themselves and sharing something pertaining to this particular FDP, what interested them to join, or whether they are taking this particular same subject or not. So we can have some interaction right at the moment, and we'll begin from 10 o'clock as been intimated. What do you say, Professor Brijesh?
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct.
Okay. Because there could be some who might think that even if I miss the inaugural session, doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that is
I
a
will be-
normal practice. Yeah.
I will be joining
Yes.
from the main session. So since the technical session is said to begin from 10 o'clock, let us begin from 10 only. In between, is there anyone? Yes, Mr. Biswas, you are from which institute? If you could kindly unmute yourself.
I am a visiting faculty in BITS Pilani.
Okay.
And apart from that, I am also the CMO of a global software company.
Okay. Great, sir. Welcome to our workshop,
Thank you.
FDP. So you stay in Pilani?
No. Pilani has a off-campus here. So
Where?
they have off-site campus in Mumbai.
Okay.
So there's this weekend program which they have for
Okay.
executives. So I'm a
Okay.
guest faculty there.
So you are from Mumbai?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Yes, somebody else, Krishna Mohan sir. I think you were the one who had said that if the whole thing could be shared. Yes, definitely, sir.
Fine.
Would be
Actually, it is a loud thought because it's not related to the training program that we are organizing now.
okay.
In most of the B schools, strategic management is just a 3 credit course somewhere in the fifth trimester or the third semester, if I'm not wrong.
I couldn't get you what you wanted to say.
No, I said you are able to listen to me, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my point
Well,
is
you are
the
from
strategic
two
management
logins.
course. Hello.
Sir, you are from two logins. So because of that, your voice is echoing. Can you just log out from one of the IDs? Because you are logged in from two IDs.
I'll do that.
And that is echoing your voice.
Yeah, I think now you are able to listen to me.
Yes, sir. Tell
Fine.
me.
Because the point is I may move around. That's the reason I logged in from two. One is from the laptop, the other is from the mobile. So my thought is basically this strategic management has been designed in such a way that it's just a 3 credit course in one of the semesters or one of the trimesters. I hope I'm
Yes.
right.
Yes, sir.
So I would strongly think that this cannot be really made just 3 credit course, because we talk about this course being an integrated version of all the functional strategies people study.
Absolutely agreed.
I think
Absolutely.
we as
And
a group of we as a group of strategic management teachers, we should definitely suggest that they should be made as you can say SM1 and SM2.
yeah.
That should be
So
taken up at the right forum. That's what I felt.
to this, I would like to inform you, sir, that in this recent board of studies that we had, we already discussed this, and it is already incorporated for our PGDM program. Because what happens, Mumbai University, Sudhir Pudi sir, can you mute yourself? Can you mute yourself? Because yeah, thank you so much, sir. We have already included and made it into two parts, sir, because your thought had already come to us also that it is applicable in all functional domain, and that's the reason we wanted to have a basic as well as an advanced version. So it is already
Great, madam.
been included in our program. So the
Really good
subsequent
initiative. Appreciate it.
it's already been taken. Thank you so much for this appreciation, sir. But we also give a thought on it, and we have already included this in our PGDM. As far as Mumbai University course, which goes in our parallel institute, sister concern, we are not able to do anything because it is the university who decides. And strategic management is a paper of university in semester 3. So there we do not have any control. But since PGDM is our autonomous program, AICTE approved, so there we have already taken notice of this and already been initiated.
Good, ma'am.
So you are also from Mumbai, sir? You are from which institute, Krishna Mohan, sir? Not. Pardon?
I'm from Geetham University.
Geetham University.
Okay, where is that, sir?
Geetham has got its main campus at Vizag.
Okay.
It has got 2 campuses, one at Hyderabad.
So you are associated with the Hyderabad campus or the... Okay, sir. Yes, Sudhir, thank you so much, sir. Nice talking to you. Yes, Sudhir Pudi, sir, you are from... Since we have... You have to unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself, sir.
I'm working at Hyderabad.
Madam, I am from Chandrapur, Ballarpur Institute of Technology. I am head of the department of MBA.
Warm welcome to the FDP. I think you can mute yourself because there's some error happening from your end, so a lot of noise is coming. Yes, we have few more minutes, so if there is anyone who would like to have some interaction. Yes, Prema Nair, madam. Want to
Ma'am,
say
I am a
something? Because the hand...
management faculty from Raipur.
Okay, sir,
I am
madam.
actually very fascinated with this topic of strategy because I have seen this Xerox company, focusing on this focus strategy and how they turned out to be a giant company only focusing on one thing. So, being a management student and a learner throughout, this actually takes my interest to follow the strategies of various companies, that how they find out their markets, how they develop their own strategies. That's it.
Thank you, madam. Yes, Nidhi Srivastava, madam, would you like to introduce yourself? Anybody else? Amruta Murthy, madam, Ankit Khare, sir, Aarti Sharma. There are a number of people already there. So, any of you? Yes, Amruta
Hello, good
Murthy.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning, madam.
Ma'am, I'm basically from Bangalore. So
Okay.
I'm been affiliated to Bangalore City University, ma'am.
Okay.
So I'm working here since 11 years, ma'am.
What is your area?
Area of specialization is finance and HR, ma'am.
Okay.
The main idea of attending this FDP is I just wanted to know about what are the more strategies which is been adopted by more number of companies in order to survive in the market in this severe competition which is been prevailing.
Hope your purpose of joining will be fulfilled by the end of this week.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, anybody else? Just in another minute
Good
or
morning,
two.
ma'am.
Yeah,
Good
good
morning,
morning,
ma'am.
Manoj. Yes, good
Myself,
morning,
Dr.
Manoj.
Manoj Mishra. Myself, Dr. Manoj Mishra, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
I'm from eastern part of Uttar Pradesh, that is Gorakhpur.
Okay.
I've been teaching this strategy management since 15 years. I've been with the corporate offices, like I've been working with ETV News Channel for more
Okay,
than
great, sir.
6 years. So I've formulated and managed strategies to travel market. My area of specialization is marketing. So I'm keenly interested to join this FDP for the self-development as well as from career point of view. So thanks a lot. You have given the opportunity for me to be the part of this FDP.
Wonderful, sir. It would be, as I said, that we are not over here to there is no teaching in this 5-day session. It's a knowledge sharing platform. So we will be hearing from various experiences that you all have. We will be sharing the experiences that we have. All the resource person, we have roped in many resource person from their distinctive fields. And with that, I'm sure this is going to be a enriched session. By the end of weekend, we all would be in a little more higher level in terms of our knowledge. So with that, it's all. Yes, sir. Yeah, Milind Marathe, sir. Welcome, sir. It would be nice if you can introduce yourself. You have raised your hand.
Yeah, sure, madam. I'm Dr. Milind Marathe. I represent Sinhagad Institutes and we are affiliated to Savitribai Phule Pune University.
Pune
Uh,
University.
yeah, it's a very interesting theme that you all have designed for this FDP, and it's not only strategy but strategy in VUCA times is always interesting, and we all are going through VUCA. So will be very much
True.
interested. I am into academics for 15 years and have
Okay.
more than 25 years of experience. I come from marketing as a discipline, and
Okay.
definitely I'll be interesting to have more deliberations and to hear more from all the respected resource persons. So thanks a lot, madam. Thank you for the opportunity.
It's our pleasure. Okay. Anybody else, or we begin the session for the day? Because as Professor Brijesh told that it is going to be a very packed session. Yeah, all the session has to be, because when we want to club strategy within such a short time frame, so there is a lot that we need to add on, discuss, and understand. So with this, I would like to begin the session for the day. Is my screen visible to all?
Yes, madam, it is visible.
Yes, madam. Yes, it is visible.
So a warm welcome to all for this first session of Strategic Management in VUCA World, which is an AICTE approved program. And this will continue from 15th to 19th, and we will be having 3 sessions per day. So about me, I'm the facilitator for this first session, and as I said, I'm passionate of knowledge sharing. I'm associated with this institute since 2010, and I'm a faculty of strategic management. I'm a faculty of general management, so I teach economics, managerial economics, applied economics, strategic management, and I'm also a management with marketing as my specialization. So as a result, I teach marketing papers also. So currently I'm into retail management. So wherever we go, in whichever domain area, whether it is management or marketing or finance or operations or HR, as Krishna Mohan sir rightly said, strategy is everywhere. So there is no domain which succeeds without strategy. Okay. So we will be today thinking about the internal analysis, that is industry structure, competitive forces, and the strategic groups. So before I begin, I would as I like to begin, I would always like to have it with something with which everybody can connect. My objective is not to bring in some very heavy things for discussion, but to make it heavy with the knowledge sharing. So as we say, when it is a strategy, business strategy encompasses every nitty-gritty of an organization, starting from identifying its vision, mission, the purpose of its existence, down to analyzing whether everything has gone right. So it's the formulation, it is the implementation, and it's the evaluation. So I would just like to, so this is from an excerpts I have taken from the IIM Indore FDP that I had attended. And I really found it very interesting because this is a very common thing that I think most of us can relate. We had seen Ranveer Kapoor in this Rocket thing, this particular movie. And in Rocket Sales Corporation, they said they had 5 rules. Their rule number 1 was, हम client से कभी झूठ नहीं बोलते. Their rule number 2 was, हम sales से ज़्यादा सर्विस पे बिलीव करते हैं, क्योंकि जो कंपनी सर्विस देती है, सेल्स उसी की होती है. So gradually we are able to see that how they are moving in terms of understanding the importance of what needs to be the effective strategy. And rule number 3 is, अगर client पूछे भी तो हम रिश्वत नहीं देते हैं. Number 4, their rule number 4 was, हम झूठी डिलीवरी डेट प्रॉमिस नहीं करते हैं, और जो डेट प्रॉमिस करते हैं ठीक उसी डेट पर किसी भी कीमत पर डिलीवरी करते हैं. Their rule number 5 is, क्लाइंट के लिए हम हर वक्त अवेलेबल है, दिन या रात. So when we see these 5 strategies, that they try to be very honest and modest with the client, they say that they believe more emphasis in terms of services than in sales, and according to them, the quality service makes sales follow. They do not believe in any sort of bribing so that they can get a better customer review. So they do not believe in that. They're very rigid about their promises made to the client. So they do not make any false assurance, and what they say, they live up to it. And they are always for the client. So what we observe, what is their service strategy? So when we are trying to understand a strategy, we have to identify the implicit, explicit, and the anticipating need of existing and potential customers, and customizing solution to meet all the needs. So what did we observe? The strategy, service strategy that was taken by this rocket sales corporation, that they were very, both their implicit as well as their explicit views in the projects or the strategy was customer centric. The focus was the customer, and they wanted to do everything considering customer to be the essence. So in terms of strategy, when we are formulating a strategy, if you have to understand what is a strategy, as I said, strategy being divided into three parts. It's formulation, its implementation, and its evaluation. In the formulation itself, we have to understand what is the purpose of existence of this organization and what is the image that we establish and create in the mind of the customer. So we have to identify what are the inherent things that we have, what are the things we want to exhibit externally and have a focus towards it, and how do we understand the need of the customer, both the existing one as well as the potential one. So this implicit and explicit understanding of the organization, that is understanding your internal strength, absolutely, the things that you want to emphasize in the form of strategy as an organization, how do you want to convey it to your customer? This will not only serve the existing customer, but at the same time, it will be trying to provide or attract and provide information and positioning done to the potential customer also. So this gives a confidence to the customer. Now, what did we see in our last this rocket sales strategy? We observed that they say that they are customer centric. They do everything for the customer. They try to serve the customer. They are available 24/7. Now you try to understand, before we buy something, suppose we are trying to buy some technical thing. This rocket sales corporation was into certain technical thing. They were into two-wheelers. So what happens is, when we want to buy something which will be used for a longer duration, the first thing the customer is interested in is, what is the type of service that would be rendered to me? So through their message, they have conveyed that they are available 24/7. They are always available. Din ho ya raat. That means the message that it's not that everybody will calling them at 3 o'clock at night. But the communication they have done that we are there 24/7 for you. Any problem, we are always there. So the first thing that as a strategy, the organization has to think is, what is the objective or purpose of existence of the organization? Who are their target customers? Then how do they position and give assurance to their customer, so that the customer understands the inherent objective of the organization, and at the same time the customer is also able to get a view that, okay, if I'm going ahead, what is the type of expectation that I can have? It's a good expectation management, and at the same time you gain assurance and confidence. Now when we come down to what is their marketing strategy, here what are we trying to do? Scanning the environment to spot and create market. When we are thinking of trying to identify the marketing strategy, the organization has to always think that, okay, how am I going to scan my environment? Because as you scan the environment, you are not only satisfying your existing customer, but you are creating opportunity for more potential customers. So your penetration can be increased, your reach can be more, and with that particular effectivity of your strategy, you will be able to create a better impact in the mind of your customer, existing as well as the probable and potential customers. Opportunities to achieve quick wins and reshaping the organization rapidly to leverage them. Now here, when we are trying to think of marketing strategy, as we are trying to identify, serve the existing, look for the potential, and we look for some quick wins, achieving some quick wins, reshaping the organization rapidly. That means the flexibility that is there. The organization, even when we go for the vision and mission, there also we say that based on the scenario, we need to organize. So this is something which I will be taking you through when I take you to the session of VUCA, that how the concepts have to be changed and what is the type of agility and flexibility organization needs to have in order to leverage the current existing situation and provide, customize everything to serve the customer for whom the organization exists. So what did we observe in their strategy? It was a customer-centric organization. In every rule, which they said, they stated 5 rules. And in every rule, what they were trying to do, they were trying to emphasize their customer-centric approach. That for anything and everything, we are there. We are absolutely flexible. We are very honest. And we are not into any sort of bribing. We assure you of our existence for any assistance that is required. So from this, we can make out that implicitly you have to believe what you explicitly have to deliver. So strategy is the capstone. So it's an essence of leadership. It's a capstone. It's very holistic in nature. Now, why we say it to be holistic in nature? Now, strategy is not for one particular purpose. Strategy is to have an approach where I want to do best for the entire organization, whether it is for sales, whether it is for finance, marketing, finance, understanding the best way of procurement, delivering them with a strategy of wonderful supply chain that I can organize, whether it is taking care of my internal customers, that is my people. So it's like a leader who has to ensure that everybody is happy in the organization. So it acts as a capstone, which is very holistic in nature. Economic and organizational aspects talks about to display an understanding of the purpose of own role and its linkages with the role in the team. So when we are talking from organizational point of view, we try to understand that how are we including all the employee, making them part of the strategy that is thought to be best for the organization. Everybody has to be felt that they are the stakeholder. So when we are formulating the strategy, it is believed that the participation of every department is very, very essential. Because every department, it is from the strategy is a top-down approach, but it's after once it is implemented, the result is a bottom-up approach. That is the lower level people are the one who are implementing it. So no resistance will come if you make them part of it. But if we are not able to make them part of it, there is high probability of resistance. Moment there is resistance from the application or implementation point of view, the objective of strategy is absolutely, it gets swayed. So we have to display an understanding. What is the purpose? Why this strategy? How it has to be linked with the entire, and what is each individual people's role, each individual team's role in terms of fulfillment of this particular objective. So we need to recognize the impact and interdependencies of all businesses, because that is how we will be able to make the overall growth. Now, when it comes down to the market positioning, every organization has their vision and mission. So they have their mission. With the mission, they try to reflect and create an idea in the mind of the customer. So moment we say that, I still remember what a wonderful vision statement that was thought by Dhirubhai Ambani when this Reliances first came into existence. The strategy that they adopted, that mobile is going to be the lifeline of people. So they said, "Kar lo duniya mutti mein." Think of the wonderful, catchy line that was their vision statement, as my mission statement, which said that the entire world, a day is coming when the world will be within your grip. But for that, this positioning, this of the idea in the mind of the customer, you have to go on including all your people. And that is how you will be, an organization can become strong in terms of having the strategy effectively established and retrieving all the benefit in terms of the organizational growth. Okay. So the top management's perspective, from the top management's perspective, calls for a significant commitment of resources, need to develop action plans and support sustained efforts at function and departmental level. So it is not only at the functional level, it has to be at individual departmental level. So that is the reason we call that strategy is a capstone. As one of the participants very rightly said, that it is not confined to any particular area. It is with every organization, with every department, with every functional area. Marketing, finance, operation, HR, IT, whichever area you go. Because everybody has to join hand, align with the thought that the organization had thought of, and that is how they are going to make it effective. It's a long-term view, not easily reversible. So that's a reason one has to think. When you are making a strategy, it cannot be, it's a strategy, it's a long-term view. It's not for every day. So you have to understand the purpose, the objective, the direction in which you want to take, the thrust that needs to be created, and a continuous focus has to be there on each thing that has been thought of, keeping in mind, where do I want my organization to be? So here you see the first example that we saw of this Rocket Sales Corporation. They said that the objective is not sales. The objective is more of service. If service is rendered, sales is an automatical thing. Long-term view is this organization growth in terms of sales. But for that long-term view of the organizational growth through sales will not be very effective if they think how to sell the product. Because if they think how to sell the product, it may be very short term, where people may not get the confidence of the type of service that can be rendered. If there is somebody who wants to say something, I would request not to speak in between, but rather to raise your hand. Just a minute. Just 1 minute, I think. I just need to connect my laptop with my charger. Okay. So we say that strategy is the long-term view. It cannot be changed every now and then. And that's the reason one has to give a lot of thought whenever a strategy is to be formulated. And that has because what is thought of to be implemented will have a cascading effect. if it is not thought from a long-term view, then probably this with a very short-term view may give result which may not be very sustainable. And as a strategy, core strategy of an organization, everybody wants to have competitive, sustainable competitive advantage. I want to sustain, I want to adopt certain strategy with which I will be having competitive advantage. So it is aiming toward sustainable competitive advantage. So whenever a long-term strat view is to be made, the decision has to be taken thinking of the cascading effect that might happen because of the objective that is being taken today and conveyed. So all functional areas, departments, as well as different domain function areas, priority has to be understood that if this is a strategy to be taken by this particular department, what can be its effect on the other departments? And will it be in line with the business objective that has been taken by each department? Because ultimately everybody's individual contribution, every department's contribution has to come and contribute towards the growth of the organization or the purpose for which the strategy has been understood. So strategy acts as a leader. The yin and the yang. So here, this is a very old belief. Yeah, somebody, please mute yourself, sir. Please mute yourself. Participants, please mute yourself. Megha, can you please mute them?
Yes, ma'am.
Please mute them, because otherwise suddenly if somebody unmutes, it becomes a little difficult. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
The yin and the yang, it says it's an ancient Chinese philosophy. Yin and the yang is a concept of dualism. So it's a very old Chinese concept where they believe that there are opposites and contrary that are available. It talks about the dark as well as the light. Same way, every organization has this dual approach, the competitive context and the organizational context. When we talk of the competitive context, now this particular caselet small excerpt that I have sent you, it comes from one of the article which talks about the strategy. There also it has said that gaining potentiality in particular department is not a strategy. That is an efficiency that you require in order to gain competitive advantage. But if you decide that to be your core strategy, then it will be very soon copied by other organization. So moment that is copied, then you do not have any specific strategy with which you can proceed ahead. So here you have to, this dualism has to be practiced by every organization, that there is a competitive context and there is an organizational context also. So both the dark as well as light, this yin is the darker side and yang is the light, the side with the reflecting the light. How obviously it shows how obviously the opposite or contrary focuses may actually complement each other. They are interconnected and they are interdependent also. So the dark as well as light are dependent on each other. Unless this belief that unless sun comes, so the sun is keeping on moving. So as it is keeping on moving, its rotation is creating the darkness as well as the light. Both night as well as day is required in our life. Same way, the concept of dualism prevails in case of strategy also, where it says that as you have to be very competitive in nature, it has to be from the organizational context also. So as you focus towards the external environment, thinking of your customers, thinking of your competitors. So we call it the 3 C's, the company, the competitor, and the customers. As you think of that, to create your competitive advantage from the competitive context, similarly, you have to have from your organizational context also. So the competitive context versus the operational excellence. Now, competitive advantage versus the operational excellence. This is what you will find in that particular article, which I'll be sharing for the strategy. There it says, operational excellence is not strategy. It is one of the procedure through which you try to gain competitive advantage. Returns more than marginal competitors. So when we try to understand that, how do I create something because of which I will be able to create more than the marginal competitors? What am I spending? Now, if you talk from an organizational point of view, any organization would go on producing up to the level where marginal revenue interacts with the marginal cost. Now, why do we want to produce the place up to where the marginal revenue interacts with the marginal cost? At that particular output, there is no profit. Then why the strategy is that the marginal revenue should interact with that? Means that every additional revenue that we are generating by selling, I will be able to go on selling up to that quantity which is capable of taking care of the cost that is incurred to produce that. There may not be any profit also linked to it. The only reason is every organization wants to gain competitive advantage and they want to have a larger market share. So if you want to have a larger market share, you will go on producing at least up to that quantity where you feel that you are able to recover at least the cost. Because if you stop that, whatever you do not produce and sell, if there is a market for your product, people are ready to buy at that particular price at which you are still able to produce. If you do not sell up to that quantity, then probably somebody else, you do not know what is the operational excellence that somebody else has. So that somebody else, your competitor, might take that market share. And the larger dominance of market share dictates the monopoly power that a organization enjoys. That is the competitive advantage that an organization can think of. So no competitor can get higher return using same strategy. So if you have some operational excellence and you think that if somebody else feels that, okay, if that is the excellence that they have, I will also have that same excellence. With that excellence, you cannot gain return, higher return, because very soon that becomes a very a common thing that is copied by many. And then where is the competitive advantage? In terms of competitive advantage, you should be able to be distinctively different. That distinctiveness is the core competency that you need to gain. Okay, so we need to understand the scenario planning and the pest analysis. Here, what are we trying to do? As we are understanding, this operational excellence comes from my internal efficiency. That what am I best at? What is my organization best at? Then what can I do with which I will have some operational excellence? So here, when we go for this pest analysis, it talks and provides me the external environment's information to let me understand what are the opportunities and the threats that lies in front of me. So this opportunities and threats makes me think of the competitive context. That, okay, if these are the opportunities, now you think of the very example that I gave of Dhirubhai Ambani. The day when this Reliance communication came into existence, that was way back 2003. But he was a visionary. He had seen the opportunity that technology is going to be the next driver of the world. And for this technology to be the driver, internet is the key. And with that, how they approached, when that objective was taken care by Jio, what did Jio try to do? Jio tried to understand that talk time is something which people not very keen of. The addiction has to be in terms of the usage of internet. The world is getting ubiquitous. We think of anything anywhere, anytime. We want to stay unwired. Wherever we want, whenever we want, whatever we want. So that place utility, the time utility, and the form utility has to be in sync. And technology was the only driver who will be or which will be able to provide that. That opportunity has to be seen when you are analyzing your scanning your rather the external environment. To gain from the competitive context, the firm has to understand to see the opportunities as well as the threats. Now here, the opportunities has to be observed in terms, and opportunities has to be matched with your internal strength. What are you best at? So, everybody is not good at everything. Everything is not everybody's cup of tea. But whatever I am best at, I should be able to do that. So I should be able, this best analysis will help me in identifying or scanning the external environment to understand the opportunities, forthcoming opportunities, as well as the threat parallel to that particular opportunity.
Devyani madam.
Yes?
Sorry to interrupt you, extremely sorry. I mean, there is one participant by the name of Ocean Kujur. She has raised a hand.
Okay.
So, I mean, I will take the opportunity. If at all there is some
I would request that since when I'm present, I'm not able to see. So I would request you just brief me so that I can immediately address that particular
issue. So I mean, if it is a question, we will try to address at the end. And if at all there is some technical problem, you can put it on the WhatsApp group. That's what I wanted to say. Ocean, I mean, Kujur, anything you want to say?
Actually, I had a question, so I will ask towards the end of the
session. I would request that, sir, because there are so many participants. So if you go on addressing, the flow of the session would get a little disturbed. So request you you can post your questions in the chat box.
Okay,
so at the end of the session, we will keep some time for all the questions to be discussed.
Fair enough. Thank you so much. I'll do the same. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay, so when we are talking about the scanning of the external environment, we are trying to see the type of opportunity and the threat that lies so that we can match that with our internal strength. So in order to gain that or create that competitive context, that what am I best at? What are my strengths? Try to grab all the opportunities with my strength. Try to minimize my weaknesses with my strength and prepare for all the threats with my strength so that we are able to minimize all the weaknesses and come forward to gain maximum opportunity that we can take and minimize the threat that might lie ahead. Now here, when we talk about the political factors, political factor matters. When we say the pest, it is the political, economic, social, and technical. Now here we see that yes, political factor matters a lot. What is Coca-Cola? I remember when I was a small child, at that point of time, I had seen Coca-Cola, and then Coca-Cola vanished. Coca-Cola was no more prevalent in our country. And then again, today Coca-Cola prevails. So this Coca-Cola coming, Coca-Cola going, or IBM coming, IBM going, or somebody coming, somebody going, which organization will stay? Now, we all know today, it was in 2012 first when retail's FDI was first initiated to have a change in to go for 100% in a single brand, FDI in a single brand retail, and 51% in terms of multi-brand retail. At that point of time, AICTE wanted to enter India with a huge investment. But because 2013 was a political turmoil sort of a situation, AICTE did not enter. So the investment that they wanted to do, that was stopped for quite a long time. So any organization, when it wants to come, it would always like to see what is the political scenario. because the political factor matters. The company has to have what is the type of legality that are there, what is the type of policy that is being adopted by the political power. All these things decide what will be my existence, how much will I be allowed to spread across, how much would be the sharing that has to be done, what is the strategy that needs to be adopted, am I allowed to enter all alone with a 100% stake. So it is the political environment which decides how the expansion has to be planned. So it is nothing only exclusive to any external or multinational company. It is even for the domestic companies. Economic factor matters. Now here we all know the story of Nano. How Nano, a dream car of Tata's, that is Ratan Tata's dream car, and how he had positioned that trying to understand the demography of our country. So they tried to understand that the economic environment is that a small family is okay to migrate their journey from a two-wheeler to a four-wheeler. So it will give them not hurting too much in their basket of finance, but it will be able to create some sort of upgradation, upscale that they would feel. So economic factor also has to be taken into consideration whenever we are trying to think of the strategy. Now we also know the causes of failure of Nano. What was the economic factor with which Nano was thought of? Its existence was made, the strategy that was thought for positioning Nano. And then what happened to that same car? If you could not live up to that, the thing that you had thought, then probably that economic environment will not be able to let the organization get withheld. So economic factors are very important factor that needs to be taken into consideration. Social factor matters. Now I remember Kellogg's was a product which came into Indian market sometime in 2000, not even 2000, it was in 1998, 99 or 2000, sometime at that time. Those were the days when this Kellogg's as a cereal, they tried to position it as a breakfast cereal. Now cereal is something, as we'll know, go back to the days of 97, 98. That was not the culture or the social belief of Indian mother. This was the consumer were children, but the customers were the mothers. So in order to position it, they were a total failure. In 97, 98, when they launched it at a breakfast cereal, it was a total failure because the Indian mothers, their strategy was to provide it that it is a breakfast cereal, which will be bringing health to a child, to the family. But the Indian household social belief was paratha, upma, poha, idli, dosa. Those were the Indian culture and tradition at that point of time. Today it has migrated. So they understood that the social factor matters. You have to bring in, understand what is the idea in the mind of the customer, not the consumer. The customer were the mothers. So what they did, strategically they understood the psyche of the Indian mother, and there they positioned it as something which has a lot of irons, minerals associating with the child's growth. Child will grow strong, child will grow healthy, the brain will develop, the child will come first, the height of your child will be more than somebody else's. And we all know how obsessed Indian mothers are in context to this. The decision maker is the mother, who is the customer. So the social factor matters. So if you have to enter into the customer segment, that demography social factor has to be thought of. We all knew Cadbury to be a child's product. Ever since we were a child, Cadbury means chocolate. Chocolate was synonym with Cadbury. Today, any chocolate we call Cadbury. Okay, so Cadbury was a child's product. When it wanted to increase its market penetration, it wanted to go to the next segment of the customer. They had to understand the social factor. Kuch meetha ho jaye. The positioning strategy had to be changed. That's it. That shagun, meetha is a shagun for Indian household. So the organization has to think whenever a strategy is to be made, we all know the strategy has to take care of the social factors also, that what is going to be the impact on the demography of the customer to whom we are addressing, and how this social factor is going to become the deciding factor, its win or its loss. Technical factor matters. You talk of Make My Trip, you talk of ITC. Today, Make My Trip being one of the pioneer in this field, today there are so many others. Go Ibibo, you have Clear Trip, you have Yatra, you have so many of them. So you have to understand that, okay, if what is my business, how will I be able to take best benefit? Then scan the external environment, think of what people are looking for. As I said, that people are today ubiquitous. They want anything, anywhere, anytime. That benefit Make My Trip is able to provide me. I don't have to go and stand on a queue to in order or go to a booking agent to ask for my tickets. I have to sitting out here. I don't have to do anything if I want to book a hotel, if I want to book a ticket. So the technological environment also matters. They have been able to be prudent enough. They had that vision to understand that, okay, what world is going to be, how we are going to use this in order to convert it for the best benefit. So this the four things that we discussed right now: the political, economic, social, and technological environment. They need to be taken care. They need to be analyzed. They need to be scanned, and accordingly, what suits one may not suit other. What does not suit one may suit me, my organization. My strategy is not to be governed by somebody else's strategy. My strategy has to understand the core strength, the internal strength of mine. What am I best at? And then match that with the opportunities and the threats that lies because of this, analyzing this external factors. There are various other conceptualization of this pest. Some say some is there slept, some pestle or pastel or steeple. Many things are there. All these things are, you include some legal factors in it, you include some ethical factors in it. So that is how when you are scanning, not only political, those are the broad guidelines: political, economic, social, technological. You can go for the ethical environment, you can think of the legal environment, many other things can be taken into consideration. Now when we talk, these are the two things, as we say. So today's session, this particular session will talk about the external factor only. The internal factor will be taken care in the next session. So when we are doing the external factor, we are doing the pest, and we are with this pest, we are able to identify and scan through the opportunities and the threats that lies. Now, when we say the opportunities and the threats, now as we said that in case of opportunities, we try to see the scanning, even when the opportunities are there, we try to scan the entire external environment. And this opportunity is there, but will I be able to be successful? Will the political environment be stable? Will the economic environment be this? Is there going to be any decision which will be disrupting the economic environment? Now today we all are emphasizing and really seeing the VUCA world. I am absolutely sure that all the participants, we all are seeing this pandemic for the first time. We never knew that this alternative methodology of staying in our own roof, under our own roof, we will be working. For last almost 1-2 years, we are doing the same thing. So the economic environment has changed to a great extent because of this pandemic. Manufacturings have, at least for the first 6 months, there was no manufacturing, everything was stopped. The first lockdown had been a toughest of the situation. So the economy had suffered a lot. The social thing has changed a lot. Today, there is so much of thoughts in our mind in terms of a mask, sanitizer, in terms of cleaning that particular place. How safe is that particular place? People have started coming out, no doubt about it. But the environment has changed and so many norms had got included today. Now, I am sure classes have started in many places as it has started in our institute. And we have come up with the understanding the problem that might be there. We have come up with a hybrid mode of session. The moment we have come up with a hybrid mode of session, so many technological companies have come up in terms of selling their ERPs. They are coming up with how effectively examination can be conducted, how effectively session can be conducted, how effectively attendance can be taken, how effectively assignment can be evaluated. This is the opportunity that has been observed. So what has acted as a disruption for one has acted for an opportunity for somebody else. The technological environment has seen this pandemic as an opportunity. So whenever we are scanning the external environment, there are various things that we have to evaluate, and we have to see that how we are able to get the best opportunity that we think of, and what is the way of combating this particular threat. Now, when we are talking about the existing competition, these are the various things that need to be taken into consideration. The fixed cost and the cost conditions. Now, today, there had been a tenure when production had completely stopped in this pandemic. So when production had stopped, the fixed cost had not stopped. There had been many organizations, probably many had reduced, done some downscaling in terms of, okay, some salary deduction, 30%, 20%, 20%, whatever. But it did not stop. But there was no production. Forget our industry. Our industry was not affected because students were taking admission, we were taking classes, they were getting money. But there are manufacturing sectors whose fixed costs were still existing with no manufacturing taking place. So the organization has to still stay in the existing competition. Some will be having advantage because of the magnitude of the organization. Some will be having difficulty because of the scale of the productivity. So the one organization which are with large scale, they had their situations were much bigger, much better. Sorry, they were much better. But the cost condition remained. Today, what has happened that when as life has started coming back to normal and everything is taking its pace, shape with the SOPs guidelines that has been set, the cost conditions have changed because there had been various price rise in different areas. You won't believe one very small example I would like to give that last year, there was no puja with any big idol or anything. We had Durga Puja and all with Kalash because the situation was very grave. This year, when we go to the artisan to get the murti, they said, no, we will not be able to give you at a lesser price because last year there was no business. The cost condition had an impact before because of the previous year also. So whenever we are thinking of the existing competition, the fixed cost will remain constant. The cost conditions will be as per the current scenario. In that, all the entire economic conditions will become, which are not at all the macro factors, which are not in our control, will be the deciding factor. So whether we are in an excess capacity and exit barrier, That will decide what is my existing competition. So if I am in an organization where there is a strong exit barrier, even if I want to think of a change, it will take a long time because this exit barrier has to be met by me. I have to identify the opportunity cost, the next best alternative use in which this particular existing situation can be made. So what is the type of concentration that is required? How do I need to go for the concentration? Diversity that prevails in my among the competitors. So if I'm talking about the concentrations are who are the leaders, who are concentrating to have the maximum monopoly power, and what are the diversity of these competitors in terms of their scale, in terms of their productive capacity, in terms of providing the tough competition. What is the type of product differentiation that can be brought? Because I have to, when I want to gain competitive advantage, I have to evaluate the entire existing competition, isn't it? So as we evaluate the existing competition, we have to look after all these factors. How am I going to handle of the fixed costs, the all other peripheral cost conditions? What is the type of capacity that I have? What is the type of market requirement that I am able to suffice with the existing product that I have? If I want to change, is there any exit barrier? So if I have an exit barrier, then I have to think that what is the capacity that I need to produce so that I'm able to meet the existing competition, but at the same time, I will be able to survive and sustain. Okay, so all this factor has to be very well taken care when I am thinking of a strategy scanning my external environment. Now, moment I am talking of the existing competition, there is a threat of new entrants. So based on, as we said, the cost, the capacity, the entry and exit restrictions that are there, the type of concentration that is prevailing, the diversity that is there amongst the competitors, the type of product differentiations that are there, these things will decide what are the threats of new entrants. So in the existing competition, what is the legal and the regulatory barriers? So if somebody wants to enter the market, what is the type of legal and regulatory barriers? So if the entry restriction is high, that could be in terms of some sort of license, some sort of patent right, copyright, royal charters, then some sort of government licensing policy, all these things. That or it could be because of lot of legalities that needs to be fulfilled. So all these things will decide that how much is the threat of the entrance. Less these components be, higher is the threat of the entrance. Now this legal or regulatory barrier acts as an entry restriction. But if that entry restriction is lesser, but still exit restriction is very high, there also people will think that, okay, if I enter, then who all are concentrating in that particular market? What is the capital requirement that I have to have in order to meet that concentration? That means if there are 3, 4, 5 very strong, big players, I'm entering an oligopoly market where there are large 4 to 6 players who is dominating 75% of the market share. Then what will be the capital requirement that I need to have, because of which I will be able to compete and combat with the existing competition? What is the type of economies of scale that is required? That means, is there some minimum thing that needs to be produced at least in order to enjoy that economy of scale? So am I in that position to meet that so that I am able to combat the existing competition? what is the brand identity that are prevalent. So this brand identity, if that brand identity has been made very strong among the concentrated organizations, in that case, it might act as a strong threat for the entrants. But if that is not that strong, then a new entrant can come and very easily through its brand glorification, it can create some sort of branding amongst the existing brand that are there. What is the type of access to distribution, as well as the retaliation that might happen by the new entrant? Or with the new entrant, now you try to think on the contrary, you try to think Jio's entrance in telecommunication industry. There was already an existing competitor. There were existing competitors like Airtel, Vodafone, the two major players, and there were many small other players. But the type of capacity that it had, the type of capacity that it could create in terms of economies of scale, and the brand identity that it could familiarize, it was very easily able to enter. It did not fear anything about the retaliation that might happen, because with the entrance of Jio, the entire telecommunication industry's strategy got changed. The focus was shifted from talk time to data usage. So it all depends upon who all are the market player and who is the new entrant. So what is the threat of the entrant? The existing competitor has to take care of that also. And the new entrant also has to concentrate and see who are the existing competitor. Then how will I be able to make my way through in it? Now, as you have this, sorry, there had been one small error. The threat of substitute. Anyway, we'll check that out. So what is the threat of the substitute? In that the error has to change. Threat of the substitute. Now, as I said, that the product differentiation or relative price performance, all these things will have some sort of threat from the substitute. Now think, when number porting was first introduced in telecommunication, the switching cost was eliminated. Moment that switching cost was eliminated, then the price performance became the component on the basis of which the competitor had to think that, okay, what should be the strategy that needs to be adopted, because the customers could very easily switch from one service provider to the other service provider. What is the propensity to substitute? That means in the existing competition, amongst the existing competitor, what had been the brand identity that the competitor has been able to create? What had been the brand identity that the threat of the new entrant been able to create? And what had been the threat of the substitute? With this new entrants coming in, the threat of substitute been put forward in front of them. How had that been able to bring in some sort of, either they have been able to shake or they had not been able to shake the existing competition? That would be divine, or that could be depend upon the relative price performance. So the substitute which has come, has the substitute be able to provide a price which is relatively cheaper than the existing competitor? Now, if you think of the example of this Jio's, what did we all observe? That every service provider changed their strategy. Everybody, the entire tariffs or the pricing strategy of every organization changed. So the price performance of the new entrant with its substitute product will be able to create some sort of impact on the existing competition. So what will be the switching cost? If there is a switching cost, people will probably give a thought. But if there is no switching cost, then what is there to think? people. And then what is the brand loyalty? This propensity to substitute depends upon the brand loyalty. Now, if you ask me, I'm a user of ATAL since number porting was first introduced. I think it was in 2008 or 10, I think 2010, number porting was allowed. As soon as number porting was allowed, I switched from Reliance, original CDMA's Reliance Communication to Airtel. Now, when Jio came with the initial, we all know it was a free data, free call, everything was free. But the propensity to substitute was not there with me. So like me, there had been many brand loyal customers. They were absolutely fine because they were able to, probably, I would say from my perspective, I cannot say about others. I personally felt that nothing comes free. So if today Jio has come, this is just a promotional offer. A day will come, because the same strategy was adopted by Reliance Communication also, and I had been a victim of it. When Reliance Communication came first with Monsoon Hangama, that was in the year 2003. And that time they say you pay 500 rupees because CDMA handsets were only being used by Reliance Communication. So only a CDMA handset was produced by LG, and it was only the service provider who was providing you the handset. So you had to go over there. In way back 2003, I'm telling, 10,000 rupees was the price of the handset. But they say that you have to pay only 500 rupees. And every month, a fixed commitment was 850 rupees is a must. From that, some portion will be taken for your handset, and some portion you will be given some free, some 2,000, 3,000 minute talk time. I don't remember what was it. Some talk time was given. Now, the biggest bait was, we all felt that, okay, 2,000-3,000 minutes talk time now, it's excellent. Things will manage. And I'm paying only 500 upfront. But subsequently, at that point of time, for a small black and white CDMA handset, I have to pay 10,500 rupees actually. And beyond that 850 rupees as stock time, the prices were abnormal. It was even for a local call, some 4 rupees 50 paisa was per minute call charge that I was paying. So this was already an experience with me. So the propensity to substitute to Jio was not prevalent with me. The reason being, I already has experienced Reliance's strategy. So I did not feel that I need to become a victim second time. So I had no propensity to substitute, a brand loyalty. So it's not that I would, as an economic faculty, it always comes to my mind that being a part of an oligopoly type of a competition, these industries do not see their price elasticity of demand is relatively lesser. With a price change, the customers, the type of demand shift that needs to happen, they do not happen because there is some amount of brand loyalty. And because of that, the propensity to substitute is always lesser, even if there is no switching cost. So the price performance becomes one of the guiding factor, switching cost becomes another guiding factor, and the propensity to substitute becomes another guiding factor. So based on all these three things, the company has to come up with their strategy, that what do they think their strategy to be. So should they be able to make a new entrant in the existing market with the substitute, whatever is the product could be homogeneous, but the plan policy can act as a threat to substitute. So gradually, then we are seeing this is coming to have a bargaining power of the buyers. Now, moment you have a threat of entrance in the existing competition, threat of substitute, you have the bargaining power of the buyer. So now here, because the place is getting more concentrated with many new entrants, the buyer now starts thinking, it's a buyer's market now, that whom do I need to go for? So the buyer becomes a volume, and they try to think that what should we do here? the biggest thing that needs to be thought about in terms of strategy that need to be thought by the existing competitors or the new entrants, do they need to go for backward integration? So since there are new entrants who are coming, since there are a lot of substitute that are already available to the buyer, so the buyer's market, it is becoming a buyer's market. Buyers are getting wider assortment in terms of choices, and if there is no switching cost, then buyer has their own independence to decide, okay, then what do we do? Yes, we can decide how we try to go about. There, the existing firm has to think, this becomes their strategy then, that should we go for a backward integration? That means, should we think of going to more towards the backward supply chain, procurement, providing things for ourselves, so that the dependency on the supplier starts becoming lesser and we gain more proficiency and competence. This proficiency and competence will be able to increase the strength of the existing competing organization. So if you want to gain competitive advantage, instead of there, the thought has to come. That also depends upon. Now, if you have to go for a backward integration, the most important thing that the organization needs to think about is, what is my internal capacity? They have to now churn their internal assessment, scan the internal environment to see what are they best at. So are they capable of creating some sort of gain in terms of using their internal strength, in using their strength, so that they are able to go for a backward integration? If they are able to go for a backward integration, then their dependency on supplier reduces. So that cost which they are able to save will help them gain some competitive advantage, and that can be passed on to the buyers to reduce the threat of the substitute. Because over there, as we said, that relative price performance. So by coming down with this particular concept of going towards a backward integration, probably a relative price performance can be changed. And if a price performance is changed, then this backward integration might help you gain some sort of competitive advantage. Okay? So here we come down to the bargaining power of the suppliers. So this backward integration is making you eliminate this particular area, so that you are able to nullify the bargaining power of the suppliers. Here, you try to see what is the input differentiation, suppliers concentration, the switching cost. So, should you go for forward integration then? Okay. So, when we talk of input differentiation, that means there is a group of supplier on whom we had been dependent. This existing competitions had been dependent. So we come down to understand that what would be the type of input differentiation that would be there. So if I am bringing in through a backward integration, as we proceed, we try to bring in some product. So am I able to bring in some input differentiation? That means, am I gaining some competitive advantage by taking this purpose of, or taking this objective of backward integration? So do I have a comparative advantage? Do I have an absolute advantage? What do I have? Based on that only, I will be able to understand that what will I become, would I like to stay with the bargaining power of the supplier, or I will be able to eliminate the bargaining power of the supplier with the backward integration that I do. This again comes with the supplier concentration. Now, when I'm going to the backward integration, I am becoming one of the competitor among those existing competition. So when I'm trying to go Because when I'm going for backward integration, I also need to have some procurement for that particular supply. So when I have to do that, what is their concentration? If they have a very strong bargaining power, or they have a strong monopoly power, then probably entering that area will become difficult for me. So backward integration may not be very comfortable for me to do. Simultaneously, when we say the switching cost, that means what will be the cost incurred if I want to go for a backward integration. So if I go, will I be able to gain some cost advantage, because of which, as an existing competitor, I will be able to still retain and maintain my competitive advantage with the new entrants coming in, with the substitute of the threads being prevalent, and the bargaining power of the buyer, because there are so many things that are available already in the market. So as a firm, now try to understand that Reliance knew that already Reliance's communication had its own spread optic fiber, had its own tower, everything was there. So when Jio is coming in between, going back for Jio for a backward integration is no problem. It's just a acquisition from one unit to another unit. So they did not have to do anything. So their bargaining power in terms of or backward integration, there they did not have to think of the supplier concentration, because they had their own existing tower, they had their own optic fiber already spread for the connectivity. Rather, many small players were dependent, and they were using their service towers, signal towers. So since the switching cost was not high, it was very, I would say, it was a win-win for NGO to enter the existing competition and still maintain some sort of competitive advantage. Today also, within the shortest span of entry into the market, they have a huge customer base. Because now here you try to think, once you are able to go back for a backward integration, would you think that because I have my with my integration, the type of differentiation that I am able to create with my inputs, I am able to pervade through the supplier concentration, I am able to bear through with the switching cost, and still I am able to enjoy some sort of competitive advantage, now can I think of going towards forward integration? So that not only am I in terms of being one of the part of this particular competing body, can I move ahead to become the sole supplier of certain things? And with this, we come down to, this is Porter's 5 force model. So when after we identify the external environment, we try to see the existing industry structure. What is the existing industry structure? How are we trying to use that industry structure with the strength that we have, scanning the external environment, and with that we try to have be a part of that particular existing competition, try to maintain our competitive advantage despite the threat of the new entrants, threat of the substitute that would be prevalent, type of the bargaining power that the buyer would have, type of the bargaining power that the suppliers would have. So if we are able to scan the external environment, identify the opportunities that are there, the threats that we can handle with the strength that we have internally, the type of how we minimize our weaknesses, with all these things, we will be able to, this model will be able to help us identify how we emerge out to stay in the existing competition. This is another very nice small, I would say, write-up from a blog, and it was very interesting. I found that I was driving on a very dangerous 2-lane highway in India. more than 8 hours of death defying horrors. Why they say? Because internationally they do not see this type of two-lane highways. They are used to seeing broad highways, and especially in their highways they never seen, or in their roads they never see any animals. So here it says our driver aggressively tailgated whatever car, truck or horse was in front of us, and then passed on as soon as he was able, and sometimes he wasn't also. What amazed me though was what he did during those rare times when there wasn't a car in front of us, just open road. So he says that he was, for them, they're not used to seeing this type of narrow lane highways where there are trucks, there are cars, there were horse carts, whatever, different type of things traveling at that gushing speed. So sometime he was able to overtake and clear through, sometime he wasn't. But what observation he did was that whenever there was clear road, try to understand, he didn't speed up. In fact, it seemed as though he slowed down. So what do we think? That when there is traffic, I'm just tailgating through the traffic to somehow manage through, move ahead. Whenever there is free road, then I will be running through so that I'm able to cover the distance. Here, this person says that he did not see his driver do that. On the contrary, driver had at certain time the driver had slowed down. He was comfortable with the competitive nature of passing. But I may not be fast, but I'm faster than you. And he was petrified of the open road and the act of choosing his own speed. So it says, Godwins have got to say, of course, we do the same thing when with our career or our businesses. Most of us need competition to tell us how fast to go. Here in the Porter's model, this is what we had seen, that when there was only existing competition, I was only thinking about myself, my cost, the peripheral cost, what will I do, how will I be able to create some good things and be able to control with the few firms that are there with me. But as soon as this particular situation is able to welcome some new entrants, which is providing threats of substitutes, and the buyers are gaining bargaining power, I start thinking whether integration is okay for me, forward integration, backward integration. So many new thoughts starts coming to me. So what will be my decision? Now, when I wasn't just an existing competitor, I never thought that if I have confidence, then why don't I go and procure something on my own? Why don't I produce something on my own? Why don't I go for forward integration of not only producing something, but also going and selling it at my own outlet? As an existing competitor, my thoughts are so limited, but my thoughts start becoming more and more provoking in terms of gaining advantage only when more and more competition starts setting in. So the organization keeps on taking strategy, understanding its existing position, but at the same time, they also try to see how do they move ahead. So when we talk about the concepts of corporate strategy, we think of the portfolio management, the restructuring, the transferring skills, and the sharing activities. So we have to have the portfolio management. That means what all do I need to produce? Do I need to be concentrating over here, or some more new divisions with my efficiency, some more new things? There are more opportunities. I have my more capacity. Then can I move ahead to do those also? So how do I manage my portfolio? Then what is the type of restructuring that I need to do? Should I go for forward integration? Should I go for backward integration? Should I go for a merger? Should I go for an acquisition? What are the type of restructuring? Should I go for re-engineering? So all these things will again come based on understanding my position, in terms of scanning the opportunities as well as the threat that lies ahead, the strength and the weaknesses that I do have, and then I try to see that how do I share all these activities so that as a corporate, I am able to have, probably I become a conglomerate. From one corporate, I become a conglomerate, a business conglomerate, who is into various other businesses. I am into business A, I am into business B. Now you think of Reliances, what they were originally into, and today where are they not? Kishore Biani being the pioneer of organized retail, today he became absolutely non-existent in the market, and with its being taken over, completely taken over by Reliance, they are going on becoming a business conglomerate, restructuring and transferring their skills toward sharing various activities. We come down to Answers matrix. Here also we try to see what is the existing and what is the new, whether in terms of the products or the services or in terms of the market. So when we are thinking of the structuring the market, there we try to every industry has to think that what do I need to do? Now, as I said that I restructure myself, or I might think of transferring certain skill, or I might think of sharing certain activities. What do we observe? That as a market, I have an existing market. So I have to think in terms of the product. Should I go for a new product or an existing product? So is it a market penetration or a new product penetration? How will I be going? If it is a market, should I be going for a existing market, or I will be going for a new market development? So existing product in the existing market, existing product in a new market. So how will I be going? Or in a new product in a new market, I can also think of. Absolutely new product, I can move to a new market.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry to cut you off. Ma'am, I had a doubt.
I think we had requested that we will be giving you half an hour time to come up with
Okay.
all the questions and the doubts, and to discuss with the concepts and that are to be discussed in terms of the small caselet that we had given.
Okay, ma'am.
So, sir, I would welcome if you can come just after this.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Now, depending upon the product and the services that I'm already into, and the market where I am prevalent, I take up the strategy as an organization. How do I go about? So, or I feel that, okay, I have absolutely aged. The return that I'm getting from this business is absolutely not going to increase. I'm not making loss, but it is not going to increase, because for this one good example is Bisleri. Bisleri was belonged to Parleys, but it's no more with Parleys. It's not that the Bisleris are not doing well. Bisleri is still doing excellent, and it is a generic brand. Today also, each one of us, whenever we are looking for any mineral water, we go and say, "Ek Bisleri de dijiye," and he hands over anything. He hands over a rail neer also in my hand. I don't mind, because according to me, it is the mineral water. But the day, it's not that the Bisleri business has gone down, but Parle felt that the Bisleri had gone up to a peak. Market concentration had increased in such a way, more and more new entrants started coming, and there were a lot of threat of substitute. So they felt that it's okay. They have grown, so they felt that let them sell the stake. And the business was doing well. The business was profitable. It's still a profitable business. But only thing is, the ROI was not increasing, the proportion in which they had seen the change in ROI. So they thought, let there be a diversification. Let me diversify and sell this particular stake and diversify to some other business. Because when that money goes to some other business, that money, it begins from the beginning again, because Bisleri has gone up to the absolute maturity stage. It's a matured company. So no further, unless they come up with some new product, then probably and there is new market development or in the existing market, they are absolutely prevalent. There are innumerable substitutes which are prevalent, and buyers do not have any restriction or lack of propensity to shift. Shifting propensity is 100% with the buyers. So that's a reason it was wise for them to go to some other diversified business in order to increase it better. These are the core competencies. As I was talking this, we gave up. Now, when we say Canon, cameras, copiers, and printers. So optics, precision mechanics, and microelectronics. This is the core competency of Canon. When we come down to Sony, several electronic appliances. So LCD technology is former, miniaturization came later. So what we observe is, this is how I'll be now shifting to go to discuss the small thing that we had shared with you. So beyond marketing myopia, you should be beyond marketing myopia, should look at resources and capabilities possessed as well. Now, with this, should Kodak have gone digital? Kodak did not go digital. Kodak was also in the same business of cameras, but because of some sort of marketing myopia, if you are not able to churn out your core competency to suit as per the new opportunity or the new change in the external environment, probably it becomes this myopia will not help you gain any sort of advantage that you can create for yourself. There was a time when Kodak was, when we used to talk of Kodak moment. Today also, it is used for any exclusive capture is termed as Kodak moment. That is how Kodak had positioned itself. But they should have gone digital, because digital became the new era. The new technology was required. So with this, faculties, dear colleagues, I don't seem to get what strategy is, because this was a survey that was done by Campbell Singh and Sim and was published in HBR. Says skills what Indian leaders seem to value most. There they say 61% say envisioning and articulating a path to the future, strategic thinking, guiding change, and 22% says understanding competitors and market, managing outside relations. So what exactly is strategy? How it is driven by? Is it that the entire industry or the business world thinks in the same way? I do not know. And this is what they had stated, the great authors. They had stated that they do not think that they understand that there is some uniformity in strategy. Each individual has some exclusivity, and that is what makes them the differentiator and identified one to gain sustainable competitive advantage. And with that, he has also challenged that nor do they understand that the academicians do. So we academicians definitely discuss, we try to give the nuances, but then strategy is actually the entire thing is dependent on the current situation and current scenario. Now, as I said that we will be having half an hour time for your queries. So with that, I would like to come down to our area of the case that we were to discuss and take up all the things that are there to be discussed and shared among the different participants. So can we, would you like me to share that particular detailed strategy article first, or you would like to come up with your questions and discuss so that we can take it later, as you all are comfortable and okay? I leave the forum for you all to decide, because there had been certain, I do not know, let me see if there had been any text. Somebody said, what about concentration? Didn't get. Okay. Minal, madam, concentration means how many firms are dominating in an industry in order to influence the total supply of the market so that they exercise some sort of monopoly power. Now, if you think of, yeah, I'll come. how operational excellence is not a strategy. Yes, sir. Referring to the industry I belong, hospitality, as a part of business plan, the main goal is guest satisfaction score. Yes, along with other Bcg Matrix or units KRA. Okay. In such case, all the future course of action strategies are based on meeting the set target or surpassing by X percentage. Yes, sir. I'll just come back to you, sir. Now, Minal madam, or is Minal sir? I do not know. Is
Yes,
it
ma'am.
Middle madam? Okay. Yeah, Minal madam. Now, when we say concentration, the concentration makes us decide that whether we will be able to pervade in that industry, what is the strength of that particular industry. Now you try to think, the fast food is an industry where you have the smallest of the thela who is selling some vada pav also, and the biggest of the giants like McDonald's, Pizza Hut, and KFC. Now, over there, this business of pizza, burger, and the organized, which we call the quick service retail, concentrated retail. So, QRS as a business, the concentration of these major giants are so large that it is very difficult for you and me to start up a network business like them. They are chain business, whether it is Domino's or Pizza Hut or McDonald's or KFC or Burger King. If you see them, their concentration in the entire scenario is they are all of franchisee outlets, and their concentration is so strong that the small stores who comes up with this similar product stays concentrated only in the local market, but they are not able to break that chain to enter that particular industry. So whether I will be able to enter and make an become a new entrant in the industry also depend upon what is the concentration of that particular sector. Am I clear to you, madam?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir. Now coming down to your operational excellence is not a strategy. Now it is believed, it's not my saying, it's Michael Porter's saying. He says operational excellence. When I will be sharing that article with you, you will be getting greater detail inside about, because I'm too small in front of Michael Porter. So there he says that operational excellence is not a strategy, but a part of strategy. When you have to decide what is your strategy, you want to have cost advantage, you want to have competitive advantage, you want to have a focus strategy. What is your strategy? With the based on that strategy, you try to create your operational excellence in that area, because operational excellence, they say, is a copyable thing. Many people can do. So as soon as somebody is able, now you have given example of your hospitality industry where main goal is guest satisfaction. Absolutely agreed. Now you say, sir, if you have some operational excellence and a similar operational excellence is taken by catered by some other organization also, then do you have a competitive advantage in terms of the operational excellence? You have now you try to compare. I'm telling you just for a simple example that I wanted to visit for a day. I wanted to go to Nasik. So I was looking for through booking.com which hotel to stay. So I tried to see, compare Radisson Blue and Taj Vivanta. Those are the two, and Courtyard Marriott. These were the three good hotels in that particular close vicinity. So moment I tried to see, now in terms of operational excellence, that was, as a customer, my focus was not at all comparing their operational excellence. My focus was, what is their location? Who is giving me a room which is city view? Who is giving me a room which is hill view? What are the additional facilities that they are including? Now, is there operation? Did I ever, as a customer, when I wanted to take a service from either of this hotel, did I ever think of that whether they are sanitizing properly or not? Are they taking care, maintaining the proper SOPs of pandemic or not? I did not even think of their operational excellence. I considered all of them to be equal. So, sir, what is your view on that? Because since you are from that industry, what is your? I'm telling you from my customer per se. As a customer, when I wanted to look for a hotel, I did not think of their operational excellence in terms of their strategy. I thought of their positioning strategy. What had they given in terms of their positioning strategy? Were they able to position? So somebody had said I had a sprawling area where you can have the heritage sort of a thing, and other person says that in that I will be able to the view and other faculty depends on the cost I'm willing to pay. Yes, that's what I'm telling Madam Neelam Madam. The thing is, over there operational excellence will make me decide the pricing that I can quote. So
Ma'am, can I come in for a second?
Absolutely, sir.
Okay.
Please.
So,
I told you that please come.
So thank you for allowing me. So what I actually was telling is, see, in the hotels, every activity that you do, let's say for that matter, if you have a lift, okay, which is taking the guests from lobby area to their rooms, if it doesn't function, we end up having the problems, and then my core target, which is to get the satisfaction score up, goes down, because then it will have a different repercussion to it. Similarly, if for the simplest reason, if I quote, if the welcome guy does not welcome you nicely, then your mood goes bad, and then it affects us. So everything that we do operationally, okay, whether it's regarding food or the way the room is made, or the housekeeping guy who's cleaning up the room, the simplest of the fact is that anything goes wrong, okay, against your brand standard, or maybe against your standard, it certainly and directly affects the guest mood, and then eventually the satisfaction score. So that's what I was trying to understand. You mentioned that the service excellence is not a strategy, and I was trying to figure it out. How do I place my understanding onto that part? Because everything that we do, we generally have that target and goals in my mind, and we do our actions accordingly. So that's the only reason why I posed this question to you.
Okay, can I come back?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Now, your strategy is not operational excellence, sir. Your strategy is gaining competitive advantage, or positioning your hotel as a guest, that is an organization which is able to give the best guest satisfaction. So in order to render that guest satisfaction and gain competitive advantage amongst your customer, that operational excellence is one of the ways in which you do it. So your strategy, when you make a strategy, your focus is at what prices. It depends upon the type of hospitality industry where you are. So somebody would have a focus strategy, somebody would have a cost advantage strategy, somebody will have a price that is going for a price as your strategy, or going for a focus as a strategy, or going for a competitive advantage as a strategy. So whenever you are taking any strategy, sir, you will be making these operational excellence a part, or it becomes your mission through which you fulfill it. So that is a path through which you go to attain it. Because as you said, this operational excellence, sir, this operational excellence is maintained by everybody. All the organized, whoever are your competitors. I'm not comparing with which hotel, whichever hotel. If you are a lodge, suppose I am a owner of a lodge, and you are owner of a lodge, and somebody else is the owner of a lodge. So I would like to maintain it with the similar type of lodges only. I will not like to my operational excellence to be compared with a 5-star hotel. That will not be my target. That will not be my strategy. So my strategy will be, who is my customer, who is the demography whom I am catering, what is the type of expectation that demography has, then what do I do to satisfy my customer. So your strategy is customer satisfaction. There you try to provide this operational excellence in order to satisfy your customer, sir. So your strategy is not operational excellence, your strategy is customer satisfaction. So operational excellence is a way. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes,
hello, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Amit Jha.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for such a. Firstly, thank you for such an insightful session. Ma'am, the question may sound very naive, but I had
Doesn't
some.
matter.
Yes, ma'am. So I just wanted to confirm Before we are entering into a market, the first thing we do the external studies. For that, we have to do the steeple or the pestle analysis. And after that, we have completed the studies. Then we come to the existing structure of the industry. For that, we do Potter's five forces model. But ma'am, I am not able to realize the significance of the ENSOF matrix as well as the BCG. Where do we use them?
See, what happens is you are already an established organization. When you are an established organization, then you try to see ultimately what happens. Every organization has to grow. That is their strategic approach is thinking where they want to see their organization 10 to 15 years hence. That is their mission of the organization, not what they want to see today. So where they want to see themselves 15 years hence. So when that is their mission, so as the organization grows in terms of their ladder, there they try to see where am I currently. So the organization has its own growth cycle, its product also has its growth cycle. So there they try, it is then that they evaluate, should I still concentrate more in the existing market, or should I come up with some go to enter into new market? Think of Coca-Cola. Now, why did Chota Coke come into being? Chota Coke came into being because they understood that the urban area is absolutely exhausted with its penetration. In the entire urban area, the Coke was a prevalent thing. But at the same time, they found that there was a newer market, the rural area, who also, the youth of that area also had that zing factor, that excitement factor of an aerated drink. But their affordability was lesser. With that, they made that, okay, if the volume is made chota, and for everything they used to say, 5 rupiah. So it was the audio, the video, everything was giving that image to be created in that mind of the rural customer. So there what it is, existing product, you are a matured product in the existing market, there you try to evaluate that do I have an opportunity of moving and doing anything more in this market? As an organization, do I want to come up with new product in the existing market? Or I feel with this existing product, I want to go to a newer market. It is only then that you put it into an unsubs grid to see that, okay, I know my market still has potential in the rural area. So what I will do, understanding the rural demography, I will only change the little format or little size of that particular product. So little work will be done in terms of the product's length, depth, nothing else. I'm not doing anything else. The product remains the same, I go to a new market. Or I feel that I am such an organization and I have been well established and accepted in this particular market, then should I go and start something more and new because I am good at doing that? So why not start up? Now, why not start up another product where I want to enjoy my brand equity, and in the existing market, I want to go for new product development. So at the initial, you do not use this. You use it when your product has matured and then you want to have a growth strategy. So you evaluate the opportunities that are there. So that's the reason, as I said, that you want to go to rural market, you first evaluated that market. What is the political environment of that market? What is the economic environment? The economic environment says that 15 rupees a bottle will become too costly for them to afford. They are daily wage earners. But a 5 rupees will be a more affordable thing. Why not make it a Chota Coke of 5 rupees and enter that particular market? Are you getting me, Mr. Jha?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
So
ma'am.
it is only then that you use this. Yes, any
And
further?
ma'am,
Yes,
and ma'am,
please.
what about the BCG matrix?
See, yeah, BCG also, it depends upon the life cycle. Now, where am I? I'm a question mark. That means I'm a beginner. So what should be big? BCGs talks about the different strategy that a firm needs to adapt at different cycle of the product. When I'm a new product, at that point, what will happen? My concentration has to be more in terms of advertisement because I'm a new product. I have to make people know about my existence. Lot of promotion has to be done. Lot of advertisement has to be done. So I'm a question mark at that point, because I do not know what is my existence, how many people knows me, how many people have used me. So I try to do a lot of advertisement to enter into the mind of the customer. I do a lot of promotional activities when I'm in a question mark. Why a question mark? Because I myself do not know my position in the mind of my customer. Then as I move from my question mark to, I go to the next quadrant, I become the star of the organization. That means people have now started seeing me, companies have started seeing me, so I'm bright star. Now I'm shining. My promotion, my advertisement, my various activities, my products, its attributes, everything has been now liked by my people, liked by my customer segment. And because they have been liked by my customer segment, now I am shining. I'm bright star now. People recognize. Now, when there is a dull star in the market and a bright star, dull star in the sky and a bright star in the sky, which attracts you more? The bright star? So bright star means you have made yourself recognizable. Now, as you have made yourself recognizable, now your strategy has to change. So you don't have to go too much in terms of promoting. People have already known you. Now you need to go on seeing the service, the customer feedback. What more can you add? What is the type of brand equity your product has gained? With that, when you feel that, yes, your product is mature, now you think of Hindustan Unilever's Fair and Lovely. A product, I think, is somewhere when I was a small child. That time it came. It is considered to be one of the highest selling product of Hindustan Unilever till date. Now they have changed its name. Why did it change its name? It has become Glow and Lovely. Why did it change its name? Because now that product is a cash cow for the organization. It does not have to do much, but because it has changed its name, suddenly it has to make people understand there is no difference between Fair and Lovely and Glow and Lovely. This change in the name happened because there had been some sort of unrest shown by people saying that you are becoming racist. Why fair? Why the word fair is used? Why fair has to be something so special? So to avoid that, no organization does not want any sort of trouble. Otherwise, why did Tanishq had to take back such a lovely ad that it had made? A simple thing, it wanted to show communal harmony. But ultimately, the organization survives and exists for the customer. If one customer also had some dissonance, that one dissatisfied customer will go on trouble another 80 customer. They do not want that. So when you become a cash cow, your movement is there. You do not have to do much, but you know you are still there and you will be going on generating revenue. But the day you feel that the revenue generation is much lesser compared to the opportunity that might be there with something else, the product starts losing its market. You become a dog. So then you feel that it is better that I close this unit and diversify to somewhere else. Are you getting it? It depends upon the product as the product moves in its life cycle. Mr. Joy?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, great explanation, ma'am. Ma'am, but just ma'am, one more query.
Yes, sure.
Ma'am, both ma'am depends upon the product life cycle, the NSOF matrix as well as the BCG matrix.
But the strategies are different. BCG matrix talks from the inception of the product. That is from the beginning of the product life cycle, what strategies to be adopted. When we talk on the ANSOF script talks about what is the strategy that I need to do for the growth of the business. That means, should I stay in the same market, go to a new market, develop some new product? What do I do? Understanding?
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Got it.
My pleasure. Yes. Anybody else with any other question? Because we are coming quite close to the end of the session, and spillover, I've been strictly told by the coordinator, spillover will not be possible to be given because time is very stringent. So I will be shared now. We come down to the last thing, that is the type of strategy that Japanese. I will be sharing with you Michael Porter's article, and in there, Mr. Ocean, you will be able to see that it is he who said that operational excellence is not not a strategy. It is a copyable thing. So it is not my saying, he's a guru, and I have nothing other than to abide by. I believe it also, but yeah, there is no way that I can challenge, and you will get more insight as you go through the detailed article of HBR. I'll be sharing that with you all. Why I did not share the very first day, because this was the first session. Next session onward, you will be getting the detailed things, because I felt that very first day, if I bombard with a 6-8 page article, people will start thinking, oh my god, it's going to be a heavy things. So will it be my cup of tea? Should I continue? So no apprehension. That's the reason I did not share. But yes, for your share, for everybody's understanding, I'll be sharing it with all the group itself. Now the thing comes is the strategy that is adopted by Canon and Sony. Now it says that Japanese, when you read that article, you will see Japanese does not believe in any sort of strategy. They are into operational excellence. They are more into operational excellence. But a company who believes in operational excellence is not become if that is your strategy, then you become a mass. You cannot become some distinctively different. So you have to be a differentiator. That's the reason you have to have a strategy. Is cost leadership my strategy? Is focus my strategy? Is competitive advantage my strategy? What is my strategy? Accordingly, I will be focusing. Now you try to think of the aviation industry. Air Deccan was with one strategy, and Kingfisher with a different strategy. One spoke about a focus group, another spoke about a cost advantage. So based on that strategy that you adopt, now what happens is the strategy which you already conveyed, there you are able to meet with the customer expectation, and that is what you need to maintain. Now when we come down to Sony, the strategy that Sony took was, Sony always believed that they were believed in excellence in terms of performance, and that's why they never compromise in terms of price. Their tagline is premium product for premium customer. So they retain and maintain that. In the same category LCD, people came with so many competitor, new entrants entered with low prices, but Sony never diluted its brand altogether. Till date, do you find any of the Sony product to be of lesser price? You will never find, because they believe in it, and with that strategy, they hit the market with the premium product in that strategy segment, and they retain that and never compromise in terms of price. When it comes to Canon did the same thing. The positioning strategy for both of them had remained very strong, and they were very focused in terms of their positioning strategy. They never went to go for any brand dilution in terms of compromising in prices. So I will be sharing the detail with the article with you. It's a wonderful article. Read it. It will give you a lot of insight. But this is the core difference that is there, which is adopted by them. And today you see these are the two premium brand of Japanese company which are still prevalent in our in every market. You go to any market, they are still prevalent, and they're considered as one among the market leaders in their own segment. Okay. So I think I have come down to the last 5 minutes. If there is anybody who would like to ask something else, as it has been mentioned to every participant, please note one thing, that your participation is a must for the certificate, and that participation comes from the feedback. So if you do not give feedback, even if you had been present, probably attendance will not be reflected. That is how we had been told by the organizing or the authorizing body of AICTE, that every session's feedback is a must. That gives an insight to them that yes, you have attended the session and you are able to evaluate. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Prakash. Thank you so much. Nice to know that you people like the session. I tried to make it crisp as well as little interactive with whatever limited time I had. And yeah, there had been learning from others also. When others shared their experience, this also becomes, and I'm sure, Mr. Roshan, this example of yours will go to one of my class subsequently, when I will be saying that how operational excellence, which is considered to be a prime component, may not act as a strategy. So thank you for also bringing, which is such an emphasizing component for the hospitality industry. I agree. I absolutely agree with you. Thank you, Ridhima. Thank you, Mayur Rao sir. Thank you, Prakash sir. Thanks everyone. Namaskar to everybody. So you will be able to see me more our day after, and there are 3 more sessions that I would be conducting. So Brijesh sir, I am done. I think I have been able to bring
Thank you very much.
my time
Yeah,
frame.
yeah. It was absolutely a very good session.
Thank you,
So I mean, everybody, the faculty here, predominantly we have got faculty members. They know
Yes.
about the subject, and it is more of a learning and exchange program that goes on. And I also learned many things from this session. I also teach strategic management. Maybe in one session I'll be there with you. It was absolutely a pleasure listening to the questions and also trying to think in what way I could have answered it. It is a good. I mean, I could see it was a very good start. We could get 62 participants and things are moving very smooth. So we'll stop the session exactly at 12 o'clock, 12:05 or whatever is the time. Requesting all of you, I mean, humbly requesting, please fill the feedback form by before 12:30. The link will expire at 12:30. After that, I would not be in a position, the team would not be in a position to do anything, because we have to mark your attendance. 80% attendance is mandatory, and we will have our assessment also.
To get the certificate.
40 to 50 MCQ spread over 1 hour. So, I mean, we will share all the resources with you, whatever has been discussed.
Every day, Brijesh
at the end.
today's session I'll send you across with our study material that I have.
Yes.
So that you will please circulate with everybody through mail.
Okay, yes. So the next session will start at 2 o'clock. I mean, I would like to personally thank from the team that management. I mean, Professor Dejani Banerjee did a very good job in terms of encapsulating such a complex thing into 2 hours. A lot of questions would be remaining in the minds of the faculty members and students. So I am very sure that by the end we cover our 14 sessions. Many of the questions will get resolved on its own. So it is a journey. Everything cannot be resolved in say 2 hours. But yes, it was a very good session. Thank you, madam. Thank you, everybody. We will assemble at 2 o'clock.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, all participants. We would be looking forward your participation and more knowledge sharing, because as I believe this is a knowledge sharing platform.
The next session will start sharp at 2 o'clock. The resource person is Joita, madam, Dr. Joita, and you have got the topic what she is going to discuss. So thank you very much. Bye-bye. Have a lunch, and then please come back at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.